Hello, good evening. Dear viewers, my today's topic is India's two-front war. Is it a myth or a reality, or is it for domestic public consumption to get political gains? In this presentation, I will try to evaluate is this strategy workable or not. The idea of two-front war was propagated during the last 2 decades and particularly in the military leadership of General Bipin Rawat, who I personally think is one of the short-sighted general in India's military leadership. He is more focused on short-term gains and tactics rather a military strategist. Sitting in his office, it seems he is more interested to create political space for BJP to implement her RSS agenda than delivering long-term military goals. India is mainly surrounded by nations like Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Maldives, which do not have muscular power, and India is excessively interfering in their internal matters since decades, and she has created her influence there. Through this influence, India has conceived herself a soft regional power, which I think to some extent is logical and true. A new Cold War is in the make between China and USA needs allies in the region to counter China, and India is thirsty to seize this opportunity. But at the same time, India is highly dependent on Russian military equipment and military warfare. Because major of the supplies and equipment India has brought from Russia. So it is quite difficult for India to jump into American pool without second thought and without the consent of Russia, at least for a short period of time, though a slow transition is possible if other factors would be supportive. As mentioned above, the small states which were highly influenced by India in the past today showing hard hand to India, which is a big failure of Indian diplomacy and its politics. Nepal is issuing political maps and accusing India of spreading COVID-19. Bhutan is more comfortable with China, especially after Doklam standoff, and Bangladesh is uncomfortable due to recent changes in Indian Citizenship Act. Whereas Sri Lanka has recently overcome the Indian-backed Tamil insurgency in recent past. India's two-front war is basically a war against the threats from north, I mean China, and west, I mean Pakistan. As far as north is concerned, the threat is very real, very genuine, whereas threat from west, I mean threat from Pakistan, is overly stated than that of the actual quantum of the threat. I will explain both in next slides that why one is real and genuine and the other one is overly stated. The term two-front war has never been defined, explained by Indian military strategists, and it was always assumed that target audience already knows what does it mean. If we look on the map and geopolitical location of India, we may come to know that there is another threat, and that threat is from the south side. And this threat is bigger than that of the first two threats, and it has more significance politically, economically, and even strategically. I will explain it in the next slides why it is more important. Now first I will focus on the north front threat. I mean threat from China. As stated in previous slides, the threat is very much existing, real and genuine, and there are reasons for that. China shares around 4,000 kilometer border with India but recognizes only 2,000 kilometer. Rest she considers as disputed, which is undemarcated. China does not dispute part of Kashmir on Pakistan side. China holds its claim on Ladakh and objects any unilateral change in Ladakh. China's increasing influence in Nepal and Bhutan makes vulnerable India's northeastern region. China is 2 or 3 decades ahead of India economically and militarily, and China will not stop and wait for India to catch her up. This is the truth. Unlike India, Pakistan, China does not believe in short term future gains. Instead, she focuses on long term future goals, I mean, for next decades and next generations. China has entered next phase of warfare, war with machine, not with human, artificial intelligence and cyber warfare, whereas India is modernizing its conventional forces, so there is no match at all between the forces of the both countries. On many occasions, Chinese choppers and ground forces made incursions into Indian territory. Indian forces always showed up appeasing attitude instead of aggressive military response. This point is very important. India did never show any aggressive response to Chinese incursions in the past and even now in the current scenario. Same was the response portrayed at diplomatic level. China has a luxury of trustworthy partner like Pakistan to counter India and to keep her at bay. India does not have any such luxury. Indian government always try to play down threat from China side due to political reasons, and she tries to hide information from general public and media regarding confrontations with China, talks or agreements with China. Know your enemy. This is very important. But Indian government closes her eyes in case of China. And aircraft carriers of Indian Navy are not strength for India. I think instead of a strength, it is a weak point for India. In the presence of above factor, one can easily conclude that the North Front threat is very big, it is real, it is genuine, and it will be a big challenge for India to deal with it in the times to come. In future, LAC can be more volatile and worrisome for India than LOC. Now I will talk about threat from the West, I mean threat from Pakistan. Indian government as well as Indian media is too much obsessed with Pakistan. They never let it go free whenever they found a tiny opportunity to blame or malign Pakistan and to express their venom. And most of the time they do so without grounds. The real motive behind such campaigns does always political vested interest and to get political mileage over opposite political forces. Apart from some sane voices, Indian media has become a tool to propagate political agenda and is losing its objectivity completely. Unfortunately, it sells like hot cake in India. It's reality that India and Pakistan fought 4 wars and there is always war-like situation on LOC, but still this threat is always overly stated by Indian media as well as by the Indian government. In this way, knowingly or unknowingly, Indian media and Indian government are making innocent people prone to over-nationalism and jingoism, which will ultimately destroy the social fabrics of Indian society as it did in Pakistan in the past and continue, but right now it is marginalized. Obviously, there is a threat on western border, and if the situation escalates on northern front, Pakistan may try to exploit it. But in normal situation, I don't find Pakistan to pose war-like challenge to India because Pakistan's all deterrence is to counter threat from India, and deterrence is always to protect oneself, not to attack others. But still, this threat is low profile compared to the threat on the northern front. There are reasons that is why I say threat is of low scale on this front. India-Pakistan fought 4 wars, but the status quo of this border remained same. There is no territorial gains or loss to each side. Both countries are nuclear power and both militaries have positioned against each other, so it is very difficult for each side to wage a full-scale war. Small-scale adventurism is possible anytime. Forget the North Front threat. Indian military is not able to wage a full-scale war with Pakistan because it knows very well that a formidable force is present on the other side of the border, which is at the same level operationally and conventionally besides tactical nuclear weapons. India has already lost its tactical advantage after so-called surgical strike and IAF Balakot air attack, which was befittingly responded by PAF in broad daylight. China has heavily invested in Pakistan under CPEC. Any attack on Chinese interests will invite China to join the conflict directly or indirectly. Resolution of Kashmir is more in favor of India than Pakistan in order to avoid any future conflict. Today Pakistan is screaming for resolution, and tomorrow I fear India will scream for it. Resolution of Kashmir is the only way forward for the betterment of the people and the region. Now I'll talk about threat from the south. I mean from the Indian Ocean region side. Threat from the south is more critical. It makes India more vulnerable in economic context. India's all business communication lines passes through this area. Historically, major invaders invaded India from south side like Arabs, Portuguese, Dutch and British. India does not have major economic activities vis-a-vis Pakistan and China, or all major economic activities operating from seaside on the south. So the real vulnerabilities of India lies on the south side because it has direct economic consequences. String of pearls. China is holding port in the Indian Ocean region. It is a greater threat than the threat from the north and threat from the west, because threat from the north and west has geopolitical consequences, whereas threat from the south carries their economic consequences apart from geopolitics. China's seaport presence in the Indian Ocean region has direct impact to overall Indian strategy, and if this side is disturbed, the pressure will be increased to many folds on the north side and vice versa. India is trying to counter China in South China Sea, but she neither have the capacity nor the capability to challenge China in South China Sea. India may have the desire, but it does not have the will to do so. From Myanmar to Gwadar, Pakistan, via Sri Lanka, China is surrounding Indian Ocean region. So, in such presence of Chinese Navy in Indian Ocean region, it becomes almost impossible for India to challenge China in South China Sea, because China is already contained by this presence of Chinese navies. Now I'll talk about the way forward. In context of all scenarios discussed above, the position of India is weak, and Indian strategists, both political and military, need to sit and rethink regarding future map of their strategies in context of China and Pakistan. In my view, if India wanted any future regional role, it lies in peace with China, which passes through Pakistan. Until confrontation with Pakistan ends, India can never be a regional power, because world see India through the prism of balancing act with Pakistan. Particularly USA did so during Cold War with Russia and now China. China-Pakistan strategic relations from Musharraf era to onward have become very deep, and day by day this depth is increasing and a reversal is becoming almost impossible. India cannot face China in case of tactical operation as well as full-scale war, as the gap is widespread and India have no match to it. Even in context of Pakistan, the both countries may have some temporary tactical gains against each other, but a full-scale war is out of question, as both militaries are aware of the capabilities of each other. If India wants to be a regional power, it is only possible through meaningful dialogue with Pakistan and mutually agreed resolution of Kashmir issue. I wonder why Indian leadership is hesitant to talk on Kashmir. An early resolution of Kashmir will benefit to India more as compared to Pakistan. India is also losing the plot of soft power under current regime vis-a-vis small neighboring nations, and these small nations are weighing in other options of allies like China. It is irony that India is not even able to face a hostile Nepal, and an appeasing attitude of Indian state and media towards Nepal gives its true reflection. In my view, Indian leadership has wasted 3-4 decades by lingering issue of Kashmir. In this way, on every passing day, India is getting cornered herself, and her aspiration to be a regional power are fading away. Thank you so much, viewers.